Hey guys, do you know what's more depressing looking than seeing a Danny Dang comment on one of your videos on YouTube? A Zorga deck! I'm just kidding guys, welcome back to the channel. This is me, Jello the Casual Card Gamer. Today we're going to be looking at Zorga, one of the coolest looking decks, I would say, in overdress so far. And the reason why I put this one off for so long was not because I didn't like the deck, but because I didn't know how to build the deck. You see, orders are very confusing to me, and it wasn't until Outer Orange posted up a compilation of different Zorga deck profiles that I was finally able to understand how to build this deck to the way that I liked it. Now, let's just get straight into the deck. I've talked too much. So first things first, we have Nibbling, Dream Nibbling for our starter of our ride line. If you go second, draw a card. Next we have Rancor Chain. Once per turn as the Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, draw 2, discard an order. If you cannot discard an order, then you have to discard 2 cards. Either way, it works pretty well. And continuous, if you played an order during your turn, this turn, then it gets plus 2k, our underwater Dementor. Next is Black Tear's Husk Dragon. When it's placed on Vanguard, you may choose an order from your drop zone, add it to your hand. And second, if you played an order during your turn, this turn, the current turn, it gets plus 5k when attacking. And not when attacking, just 5k. And the flavor of the week, we have Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga. When you would play an order, you may bind an order from your drop zone with a different name, and Alchemagic, basically you have to activate both at the same time, which is really nice. And once per turn, Counterblast 1, choose a unit from your drop zone and call it to a rearguard circle. So that is it for our ride deck. Let us move into the main deck. So first things first, of course, we have 3 more copies of our Persona. So 3 more copies of Zorga. Next, we have 3 copies of Grief, Despair, and Rejection. Counterblast 1 to give 3 of your units plus 10k until end of turn. And it's reminiscent of my early college life. Next, we have Cursed Soul Squirming in Agony. This is very reminiscent to my physics class back in college. Soul Blast 2, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and call 1 to the field and it gets plus 5k. If you are Alchemagicking, then you call 2 instead of just 1. Discard the rest of the top 4. And last but not least, we have 2 copies of Regurgitation from the Underworld. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Retire any rearguard. Call another rearguard from your drop zone to the field with the same grade as the retired unit. Or call 2 if you are Alchemagicking. So that is nice. And that is it for the grade 3s. Moving in to the grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Fleet Swallower, the Angry Shark. So when it attacks, if you Alchemagicked during that turn, you Soul Blast 1, it gets plus 5k, and your opponent has to call at least 2 cards to guard when it attacks. And next we have Inheritance Maiden Hendrina. I only have 2 copies, so this is all that I can put in the deck. When she is placed on rearguard, you can mill 3 cards from the top of your deck, and then you can retire her and basically negate the next Soul Blast that you would have to pay if you were going to activate an order. And we have 3 copies of Nectar of Sensationalism. So choose one of your rearguards. It gets plus 5k for every 5 cards in your drop zone, and if you have 15 or more, it also gets plus crit. So that's really nice, and it being costless on top of all that makes it a lot easier on the soul, both on the player and your Vanguard soul, to play an Alchemagic with, in conjunction with. So that is it for our grade 2s. And moving into the grade 1s, we have our 4 copies of Planar Prevent Dragon. We have 4 copies of Rogue Headhunter. So if you played an order this turn, it gets plus 5k, so it's a 13k booster. And when it is placed on Rearguard, the next time that you would pay a counterblast during Alchemagic, you don't have to. So that's nice. And 1 copy of Sleeve Tugging Bell. So when she's placed on Rearguard, you can move all of your bound cards back to your drop zone, and she gets plus 5k for every card that you return. Next, we have 2 copies of Spiritual Body Condensation. So Soul Blast 1, choose a card from your drop zone, call it to Rearguard, gets plus 5k. Very sweet and simple, and also something that I had to rip from my Magnolia deck, because for some reason I only have 2 copies of this card. Anyway, that is it for the grade 1s of the deck, and now we move into the triggers. So of course, we start with our Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, Blessed Favor. So it's an Omni trigger. You get your 100 mil, remove it from the game, draw a card, then you draw another card, something gets a crit, your front row gets plus 10, and you heal. If on regular heal trigger conditions. And we run, in this deck, 7 crit, and 4 fronts, and of course 4 heals. And I only have 3 Elegy Pixies, so there's 1 Sylvanhorn Beast, Zilal Sorog here. But anyway, 7 crits feels really good in this deck just because the numbers can go relatively high, especially if you have Nectar of Sensationalism in your hand or in your drop zone to pop. And of course, the front triggers having 20k shield really does help in terms of defenses, because of course, orders aren't able to guard because they don't have any guard value. So that is it for this week's deck profile, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I had a headache trying to make this thing, and you know what? I really like this deck, and it was one of the few decks from D-BT01 that I wasn't able to properly make because I didn't have all the pieces at the time. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one, and that is it. I am Jelly the Casual Card Gamer. Take care.